When I finally stopped obsessing over color and started obsessing over this one thing, this is when my art started to sell. So I always thought that a sellable piece of art was all to do with the color of that painting, but I discovered that it was actually value. Value is the most important skill to learn as an artist. Just learning how to work with value is going to completely transform your life as a painter, as an artist, and it will also bring a new perception about your work to your clients. When I started to obsess with value, that's when people started messaging me and saying that they wanted to buy my art. So previously to that, I was very colorful. There's a very colorful phase in my evolution as a painter, which I'm also going to show you here in this video. So when I first started taking myself seriously as a painter and decided to make this my life path, I began working on my portfolio because I had this deadline for the biggest art exhibition here in France, in Toulouse, called Art 3F. And it's an art exhibition that you have 50 million people come, which is a lot of people. So I just needed to make a lot of paintings, and I was really obsessed with colors at this moment in my artist evolution. So I first began with a series of this beautiful Prussian blue paintings that to this day I really love, and they were all oil paintings. And after it began to become very bold, very colorful, which I believe this bold phase of mine was myself just putting out all of this art energy into the world for this exhibition that I was doing. So this phase is really colorful. And then finally I settle into my now colors, which are more dreamy, they are more ethereal, they represent more of who I am as an essence, as a person, as an artist. But the thing is, as artists, sometimes we obsess a lot about the color and the color palette when there is this one thing that actually will be a game changer for you, which is to learn how to master value. And to do that, you actually need to work more with black and white. You need to work with charcoal, graphite. To master value, you need to start working with drawing, and especially with black and white. But to master value, you need to master drawing. And this is the thing that will absolutely change your artwork. This is the thing that's going to make your artwork pop. So first of all, what is value? If you are a beginner artist and you've never been to art school, you might be wondering, what is value? So value is the contrast of light and dark, and it is the backbone of your painting. It gives form, contrast, and motion. Think of black and white photography, no need for color, just pure emotion. This is what value is. And to master value is to learn how to see every little subtlety in light, like the darkest darks, the lightest lights, all of those 50 shades of gray, and the little nuances that make a painting have form versus when you think of caricature or cartoon-like drawings, the difference is all in the value. So it makes a cartoon it has no value whatsoever. There's no shading, nothing. And what makes a beautiful masterpiece is all of those nuances, those shades, those dark darks, light lights, the way the light is hitting the face, the cheekbone. That's what value is. And if you have been to art school or have done all of those online drawing courses, they usually show that little sphere and the way that you turn this sphere, this one little circle, into a beautiful sphere with light is you do all of the nuances of shading from the darkest darks to the lightest light to the highlights of that sphere. This is that one exercise that every artist needs to do and master. I know it's really boring, but it's really important for your art. That's why they show it in all of the Domestika online courses. If you've done them, I used to be a Domestika art junkie. I still am. I love to learn from different artists, their craft, but that's the one thing you need to master. So let me give you an example of value in one of my favorite pieces, which is this one of Eve. So as you can see in Eve, her hair has different tones, the way our hair usually has different tones when the light hits it. So there's the lightest lights, there's the darkest darks. It's a braid. You can see the way the hair is braided. There is lots of shading, lots of different nuances. Even the lips, the way I drew the lips, they're not flat. They have all these different nuances, all of these different grays and blacks, and the way the light is hitting the lips. So this is the one thing that has completely transformed my art personally. I will show you another painting of mine that shows this. So this one here of Iris, you can see that even though there's less values than the one of Eve, you can still see the way the light is hitting her face. Here is dark, here is light. So this is what I mean by value. And now I'm going to show you the difference in the evolution of my paintings by showing you some of my previous works when I was more obsessed with color. So as promised, my colorful face. This is all oil painting. And you can see that at this point, yes, I know how to paint, but you can see the difference in the value. The dresses, they look a little bit more flat. And even though I love this painting, I do think the colors are quite fun. You can see that, yes, I understand shading here, but I haven't mastered value yet. It's pretty obvious, at least to me, that in this painting I have not mastered value at the scale that I have mastered it now. So basically, as an artist, you need to train your eye to learn how to see in light and in shadow. And it's really interesting because now, for example, when I sit in dinner parties with friends, I'm usually observing the way the light is hitting the face, what's being highlighted, what's in the shadow. It's something really interesting. It became an obsession of mine. That it's not just something that I observe when I am painting or drawing, but it's something that I'm usually observing even by talking to people. I'm looking at their faces and I'm seeing the way the light and the shade hits the face. So it's just learning how to train your eyes to see all of the nuances of light and shadow. So this is something that all of the great masters not only knew about, but they mastered as well. And this is why a lot of them, before painting, they would paint their canvas in gray, the grayscale. This way they had the gray midtone, that they could add those dark shadows and then the light highlights. And this is why usually other painters, they start their canvas with a wash of beige or brown. I use myself a wash of coffee, which is beige, and you can see that all of my paintings, they have this wash of coffee in them. And this is my midtone. I use this wash to have a really nice midtone, and then I can work the values of my subject into the painting. So here's the practical advice. If you want to start painting and drawing better today, start doing black and white sketches. So maybe look at black and white photography and try to do a study of value in black and white. This is going to really improve your art. Then I suggest that from the black and white photography, just use regular photography just to learn how to see those really interesting nuances of shading and color that are important for you to master when you are painting and drawing. So this one skill, I promise you, is going to absolutely change the way that you draw and also the way you see the world. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit subscribe. I just started this art channel to document my journey as an artist, and I would love to hear from you what tip that you mastered has transformed your art. So thank you for listening. Mwah! Ciao, ciao!